Wes Goldberg, Locked On Warriors, Locked On NBA. Wes, what's the latest from the Warriors right now?
The latest has everything to do with the Steph Curry extension, right? We've already got that Mark Stein report that Steph will sign the 4-year maximum extension, and I've got no indication that that's not going to be true. The interesting thing to me here is not that he's signing the extension. I think we all expected that. It's if he signs this thing early, I think that is an indicator of stability on the Warriors' part, right? Because this is an organization that has the reputation of being a championship type of culture, but has missed the playoffs for 2 straight years, right? And they missed out on some key veteran type of free agents last summer. They don't want to do that again this summer. So getting the Steph Curry extension inked early is a sign of stability. It shows confidence on the Warriors' part, confidence on Steph Curry's part in the Warriors, and then maybe after that, other free agents that they're going to be targeting look at the Warriors and say, you know what, if Steph's going to sign there for the long term, maybe that's something I want to do too.
Wes, do you feel like some people have said, they got Kuminga, they have Wiseman, they have now Moses Moody. Do you think they're setting up for another deal for somebody? That the Bradley Beal thing was the only one really talked about during the draft, but are they setting up for another move, or are they just like, all right, we're going to try to go in two directions. We're going to try to be, have that stability with Steph Curry, like you said, and Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and then also have this young core that'll be coming off the bench or maybe spot starters in different places to try to stay young at the same time.
There's definitely let's have our cake and eat it too type of thing happening in Golden State, and I've argued against that route in the past. They don't care. They don't listen to me. I guess maybe they
Argued
know
that the
more than I
Warriors should
do.
do that, or that they are trying to do that?
I've argued that they should not do that, but they are very clearly doing that. I mean, drafting Jonathan Kuminga at 7 is all the proof that you need. That guy's really raw, and I think there's an expectation even from the Warriors' part that he's not going to play a meaningful role anytime soon. So they are trying to kind of do both, right? Thread the needle is the term that they like to use all the time. But that puts the onus on Bob Myers and what it is that they do in free agency. It makes it even more important, right? And so Andre Iguodala is a guy that they would like to have back. He is not the Andre Iguodala that helped them at the height of that dynasty years, right? I mean, he was kind of on and off the last couple of years in Miami. I think he wouldn't be quite like the Udonis Haslem of that team. He would still play minutes, right? But I don't think you could expect him to contribute in that same way right away. So they need to go out and get somebody else. The interesting thing with Iguodala is now you're hearing reports that the Lakers could be interested. This is classic Andre Iguodala, guys. Like it was only a few years ago that he played the Sacramento Kings off of the Warriors in order to get a good contract. This is what he's doing. If you think that you're getting him for the minimum, I think he's trying to play the Lakers and the Warriors off of each other. It's just my read of the situation to maybe get a portion of that mid-level exception, something more than the veteran minimum. And if that's the case, look, I think the Warriors, if it was for the minimum, they'd be like, yeah, sign him up. Wouldn't even blink. Let's go. But for a portion of that mid-level, something that they're trying to do more with, maybe go get a Nick Batum type or a point guard like Patty Mills or something like that who can help run that second unit. They would have to at least think about it more than if it was just the minimum. So Iguodala is the big name, and there's obviously some other targets that they're going to try to get.
What are the other targets you think that the Golden State is looking for? How do they fill out the rest of this roster? What are their options? What are their moves? Who are the players to watch today?
Well, I don't know about today because I don't know how soon that it seems like the big point guards are going to go quickly, right? Kyle Lowry, Chris Paul. We'll see what happens with Dennis Schroeder. Who knows? But the Warriors aren't in play for him. I don't think, unless they can maneuver some sort of sign and trade involving Kelly Oubre. But I don't expect the Warriors and Lakers to help each other out in this situation. Um, I think you're looking at that next notch. They have the $5.9 million mid-level exception. I think you're looking at guys like Corey Joseph, Patty Mills, maybe even a Derrick Rose. Even though it sounds like there might be some interest between him and Chicago, and certainly I guess the Knicks could be a possibility there too. That's kind of what they need. In the draft, they prioritized wings, and they did that for a reason, right? They knew that Kelly Oubre is probably leaving. They knew that Kent Bazemore, who was a helpful player for them last year, was a starter for them at the end of the year. He's probably gone because he's looking for a long-term deal that the Warriors can't really give him. So they went and prioritized wings in the draft, but that means that they have a big need for a backup point guard right now. I think that's going to be what they allocate the mid-level exception for, if they can get the guy that makes sense. And then I think obviously you're looking at a guy like Iguodala at the wing. If not him, if he ends up signing with the Lakers, for example, maybe you look in the direction of a Trevor Ariza or something like that. And then I think they're also looking for a big man. We've already heard reports that Paul Millsap could be interested. We'll see. I think they could all that might be a mid-level exception type of guy, but I could see them adding a third big on the minimum, like a guy that's not going to excite Warriors fans, but you know, a Bismack Biyombo type, a Mike Muscala type, somebody like an Alex Len, like somebody like that who's just another name to have. Those are really the three major needs: veteran point guard being at the top of the list, a veteran wing, and then just a third big man so that you can add to that depth.
Wes, any word on someone, say like a Nick Batum, who obviously played a pretty large role for the Clippers last season? You talk about guys that can move the ball and can defend wings. To me, he'd be a pretty interesting option for the Warriors there, whether that is starting or coming off the bench. I think he'd be someone that could fill in that Bazemore role at probably a higher level and do the sort of things that he did in LA. Has he been linked at all to the Warriors?
There is mutual interest between Batum and the Warriors. There was last year too. There was two guys that the Warriors had targeted last year before Klay Thompson tore his Achilles. It was Nick Batum and Marc Gasol, right? And they thought they had the inside track on both of them. Tears his Achilles the night of the draft, and Batum goes to the Clippers, and Gasol goes to the Lakers. Now, if you ask the Warriors, they think that hey, we were going to get these guys if not for Klay getting hurt. Well, I don't know if that was actually the case or not, if they were just really optimistic or confident. But Batum had a really nice year for the Clippers. I know that there's been some skepticism about whether or not he would return to the Clippers with Kawhi being injured and obviously having opted out. But if Kawhi re-signs, it wouldn't shock me if Batum came back, right? Like whether or not they're a championship team or not, like that's the place where he resuscitated his career and he has obviously some success there. So he might want to get back there. And after such a good year, and given the lack of quality wings on the open market, is the $5.9 million mid-level exception enough for Nick Batum? Like, I don't know. He would have to maybe take a discount in order to play for Golden State. I don't know what kind of appetite there is. Is there mutual interest? I'm sure there is, but I don't know what kind of appetite there is to take a discount if some other more lucrative offers come his way.
Last question for you here. What's the thought among Warriors fans, yourself, that are the Golden State Warriors a finals contender next year? Where do you see them in the hierarchy, after this weird Westbrook move and some of the other moves that are going to happen in the West today?
Yeah. I'm going to give you a really great non-answer, Nick. It really just depends on how these next days sort out. Like, based on the draft, look, I thought that there were certain moves that they could have made in the draft that could have, I don't know that elevated them to the favorites in the West, but certainly would have put them in a better position now, right? They took the long play in drafting Kuminga at 7. I think there were other guys at the board that would have been more immediately impactful. I thought Moody at 14 was a nice pickup, but I don't think you can really expect that much of him as a rookie right away. It depends on how this goes, right? If they're really, really keen on adding Iguodala with a big portion on that mid-level exception, I don't know that gets them there, right? I think they have to make a bigger, more impactful addition there with that mid-level exception. That's really what we're looking at, guys. Is that MLE? Can you get a 6-man type of guy with that? If not, you're really, really hoping for a big jump from guys like Jordan Poole, maybe a sooner than expected impact from guys like Moody and Kuminga, a huge leap from James Wiseman, who's still dealing with the MCL tear. I just don't know that they've got the guys. So it really depends on how free agency shakes out and if they can get some bargain bin type of deals.
Wes Goldberg, Locked On Warriors. Great stuff over there, as well as Tuesdays on Locked On NBA.
You nailed it. We'll be there tomorrow.
Go check. I should know that by now. It's kind of my job to know that. But there you go, Wes Goldberg. Go follow him on Twitter.